Flashcards can be an insanely powerful tool for learning Chinese. They can get you fluent and get you there fast. But, and this is a really big but, that's only if you use them the right way. If you use them the wrong way, you can end up wasting hundreds, maybe even thousands of hours. So in this training, we're going to make sure you're on the right path.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll talk about whether flashcards are a tool or a trap. Then, we'll pinpoint the single biggest mistake that learners make. After that, we'll lay out a step-by-step system for success, all the way from creating your cards to building that daily review habit.
All right, let's start with a really important idea. The power of flashcards doesn't actually come from the cards themselves. It comes from the method you use. It's not about the tool, it's about how you use it.
Think of it like this. On one side, you've got a clear path that leads straight to fluency, and fast. On the other side, you have a tangled process that just leads to a lot of frustration. And the difference between these two paths isn't about talent or even how much time you put in. It's all about a simple but absolutely crucial shift in your approach.
So what is that crucial shift? Well, it all starts with identifying the one single most common error that holds learners back. Seriously, understanding this one thing is the key to unlocking the true power of your entire flashcard system.
I want you to really let this sink in. This quote from our source material says it all. The author spent months getting a 95 to 99% success rate on his flashcards. He felt super productive, but in reality, he wasn't actually improving his Chinese. He was just getting really good at recognizing some squiggles on a card and spitting out a memorized answer. That's not real learning.
And here it is. This is the biggest mistake you can make, using flashcards for learning new information. Their true purpose, the thing that makes them so incredibly effective, is for reviewing information that you have already learned somewhere else. This distinction is everything.
So that brings us to the core principle that's going to completely change your study routine. Learn first, review second.
It's a really simple two-step process. First, you learn the information, and I mean really learn it. You understand a character or a word or a grammar point by seeing it in context or using a mnemonic. Only then, after that learning has already happened, do you make a flashcard for it. That card's job is to lock that knowledge into your long-term memory.
So, what does this look like in practice for a beginner? Well, you'd start by building a foundation of about 1,000 individual word cards. That's going to get you to about 80% comprehension. From there, you'll have enough vocab to graduate to sentence cards, which is really the end goal. And all along the way, you'll be keeping up a separate deck of about 3,000 character cards to make sure that foundation is rock solid.
Okay, now let's get into the nitty-gritty of how to actually craft your decks, because not all flashcards are created equal, and using the right type for the right job is absolutely critical.
The first major type of card is a comprehension card. You can also call it a recognition card. This is where the Chinese is on the front. Your job here is pretty passive. You just have to see it and understand what it means. It's purely testing your recognition.
The second type is the complete opposite. It's a production card, also known as a recall card. Here, the English is on the front, and your task is now active. You have to physically pull the Chinese word or sentence right out of your memory. And let me tell you, this is a much more difficult mental exercise.
So how should you actually use these different types? Well, the recommendation is crystal clear. For characters, that's your foundation. You should use both comprehension and production cards. For individual words, just stick to comprehension only. Trying to produce single words can get pretty confusing. And for sentences, this is where you focus all your energy on production. That active recall is by far the most powerful use of your flashcard time.
Okay, so you have the right mindset and you've got the right kinds of cards. Now let's talk about the daily habits that make this entire system work like a well-oiled machine. Please always remember this. Your flashcard session is a mental workout. It's a very deliberate process of pulling information out of your brain. It is not the time for passive reading or listening. That's a totally separate and also very important activity.
And this leads to a pretty practical question, right? If you've got hundreds, maybe thousands of cards, how on earth do you know which ones to review today? Trying to manage all that by yourself would be, well, impossible. The answer is technology. Specifically, spaced repetition software, or SRS. You might have heard of the popular program Anki. This kind of software uses a really smart algorithm that does all the scheduling for you. It tracks how well you know each card and then shows it to you at the perfect moment, right before you're about to forget it. This makes your review sessions incredibly efficient.
Now, to make any SRS program work its magic, you have to follow a few rules. First, you have to finish your reviews every single day. No exceptions. Skipping days just throws off the whole algorithm. And remember, consistency always beats intensity. 30 minutes every day is so much better than 5 hours once a week. Also, be fair when you rate yourself. Don't mark a card wrong just because you hesitated a bit. And finally, always add audio to your cards. It's absolutely essential for your pronunciation.
Okay, let's put all these pieces together. We're going to zoom out a little and see how this whole optimized flashcard system fits into your bigger journey of mastering Chinese.
Look, flashcards are a big part of a balanced routine, but they are not the entire routine. At most, they should take up about 30% of your study time. You have to also spend a lot of time on immersion, that's reading and listening, as well as active practice, like actually speaking. Flashcards are there to support those activities, not to replace them.
So if you only take one single thing away from our time together today, please let it be this. A flashcard is a review tool, not a learning tool. If you can internalize that one idea and build your habits around it, I promise you will save yourself so much time and frustration on your path to fluency.
By following this method, you can build a perfect review system, and that is one of the most powerful assets a language learner can have. But of course, the journey doesn't stop there. So we'll leave you with one last question to think about. With your review system perfected, what is the one skill that will make Chinese 10 times easier?